Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball. Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
Trying to close the show.
She was doing a great job of feeding.
That is
It's over.
Don't you regret not coming to the net? Don't you regret not coming to the net?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
All right. Let's talk. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. This is an audio-only episode. I just don't have the time to set up today. I was thinking about getting a full episode in and recording this tonight on video and everything, but I'm just going to make this a quicker, briefer, audio-only episode. Episode 721 of the podcast here. Welcome to the podcast. You know the deal. I'm your host, RJ. This is BD4, all that stuff, Yankees, Knicks, MMA. Let's talk about this. Game 2 loss. The Yankees, we talked about after Saturday's win how Kansas City fucked up, letting the Yankees take the first. No, you know what, man? There's no such thing, in my opinion, as momentum in playoffs. Anything goes game to game, and I think the Yankees could have fucked up, if anything, letting the Royals split, going back home with this split off of a win with Lugo going. And if this goes to 5, the Yankees have Reagans to face. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if in these next 2 games, if you see Bobby Witt get hot in front of his home crowd, because he has been a guy this year that hits better, much better, at home. But the Yankees done fucked up. They lose this game 4-2. It felt like it was a blowout because that's the way the Yankees showed up, or didn't, rather. You had the lefty Rodon going up against the lefty Cole Reagans. Real brief summary here. Bottom 3, Stanton rips an RBI single to shortstop off Bobby Witt's glove. Laser base hit, 1-0 Yankees. Top 4, that's when Carlos Rodon implodes. By the end of the 4th inning, it's 4-1 Kansas City, and the Yankees don't score a lick the rest of the way until the bottom of the 9th when Jazz Chisholm hits a meaningless solo home run, and Kansas City wins 4-2 instead. So Rodon was awful. He could not get out of the 4th inning. I was excited for it. He flopped. The bullpen was very good in relief. 5 1/3 scoreless. Hamilton, Cousins, Hill, Holmes, Canely, Meza, Weaver were all fantastic. The bats were completely horrific. This was a game that, once again, got sloppy, just like the first game, where the Yankees made ugly mistakes on the bases and ugly mistakes in the field. Again, kind of similar, where this team folds at the first sign of adversity. And that, to me, is Aaron Boone. I don't think that's a coincidence that it keeps happening under this guy. These mistakes didn't happen this consistently under Girardi and under Torrey. Aaron Boone's Bombers consistently fold the very second they face adversity. They let it get worse and worse and worse, and before you know it, it's over. That's on the manager. You manage the baseball team. The lack of accountability after these games where guys are making mistakes that they should have fixed after kindergarten, But then you're sitting there post game telling them it's okay, it's bad luck, it's just one time. This guy's amazing. Like, that's on you. That's why it keeps happening. The Yankees are fundamentally disgusting. And while I don't recall any egregious mistakes on the bases in this game last night, defensively it continues to look ugly. Routine plays not being made. Simple throws to first base. Hitting the cutoff man. I mean, that's been a problem all year that we really haven't talked about. The whole cutoff situation. We've talked about the nonsensical shifting, right? You got a guy like Clay Holmes on the mound. Why are you shifting pull side for a lefty? Clay Holmes throws 2-seamers. It's just shit like that keeps happening under Aaron Boone's Bombers. You can change the assistant coaches. You can overhaul the staff. You can overhaul analytics. You can change the players on the team. And they've been doing all of that over the past number of years. But they're still losing big playoff games. So what's the common denominator here? The one thing that hasn't changed has been the managerial position. Just saying. I'm not saying fire Boone after game 2. I'm saying fire Boone if they lose the series. Yeah. But that's one game that you might not be able to afford. You did not want to lose that game. And if they go on to lose the series, then everything I'm saying right here, yeah, I will repeat it. But, honestly, man, the concerns that I had in the regular season, the two biggest concerns regarding this lineup are coming to fruition right now. They're coming to fruition because, listen, in this game, the Yankees scored 2 runs on 7 hits, 6 of them singles. They had 5 walks, 8 strikeouts, grounded into 2 double plays, and they were 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. So far in this series, they have just 2 home runs. 75% of their hits have been singles. So where the fuck's the slug? 7 runs. They have a .158 average with runners in scoring position through 2 games, with 19 guys left on fucking base. And the two major concerns I had in the regular season, again, are coming to fruition. And those things were, what's Aaron Judge going to look like when October comes? And it's, what are the Yankees going to look like when they run into left-handed pitching? And those 2 things have been on my mind for a very long time now. The Yankee bats last night scored 1 run in 7 innings versus lefty pitching. And they scored their other run in 2 innings versus right-handed pitching. Jazz goes deep off of Ursig. That's an issue. They've played under 500 ball against lefties this year. They get on base against lefties, but they cannot slug. They cannot execute in big situations. The hitting is not there. And Aaron Judge is a big part of that problem. The Royals are a very bad matchup for Judge, which makes this a bad matchup for the Yankees because Judge is their best player, and when your best player is not being your best player, you don't have a shot. I don't care which team you are. But all season long, the Royals have been a bad matchup for them. They've got effective lefties. They've got righties with good changeups. They've got a guy like Riggins who can throw that cutter. And what they've been doing, the lefty formula, walking the top of the lineup and then going after everybody else, right? In this game, again, Torres, Judge, Soto, those guys get walked. And then they go after everybody else who's just they didn't execute. Nobody executed last night. Riggins' final line wasn't crazy good. 4 innings, 1 run. He walked 4 batters, allowed 3 hits, so 7 base runners. Struck out 5 and had 87 pitches. They had him on the ropes early, but again, Aaron Judge. First inning, Torres and Soto reach with nobody out. Here we go again. Aaron Judge, the captain of the New York Yankees, the guy being paid the big bucks, comes to the plate, and he strikes out with 2 on, nobody out. Once again. He did that twice in the first game. And he does it once more here. He has left a village on base. And that set the tone. That at-bat set the tone. It completely took the air out of the Bronx. It completely let Cole Reagans off the hook. He was against the ropes. But Judge strikes out, and then Wells and Stanton follow by doing nothing. His timing's just way off right now. He's getting so many good pitches that he's capable of punishing, but he's not. And so while the formula was going change-up heavy in Game 1 on Saturday, you saw Cole Reagans go with cutters. Attacking Judge with cutters in the first at-bat. He goes change-up, but then he goes 1-0 cutter in to get a swinging strike. Then he goes with a 1-1 cutter inside again to get a swinging strike in the same spot. And then he decides to go 1-2 fastball, 97, which caught a ton of plate, but he blew it right by Judge for strike 3. And just right there, Aaron Judge has to hit. The Yankees have to figure out a way to hit lefties because the Kansas City Royals have a plethora of lefties in that bullpen. And it doesn't matter how good or bad of years they had, because that bullpen overall is a bad bullpen. The fact that they can throw with their left arm is a major problem. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. This lineup needs a shakeup. They need life. They scored 6 runs on Saturday, but it was ugly for most of the game. And I think at this point, you can't afford to wait. And I think Giancarlo Stanton, I love the guy. His inability to move at a speed past 20 miles an hour when he's supposedly running is killing this team. It hurt them 2 times on Saturday, and it hurt them again yesterday. Saturday's game, you had a double by Cabrera, was it? Stanton couldn't even get past third base from first. He's not being able to beat out ground balls that anybody else in the history of baseball, maybe even David Ortiz, will be able to leg out. And so if Stanton is not hitting for power, I understand he produced your only run yesterday. If he's not hitting for power, what's the point? Because he can't field, because he can't run. He's not an on-base guy. He's here to slug home runs. He hasn't done that yet in 2 games. So if he's not doing the only thing that he's supposed to do, maybe, because Verdugo has gotten on base in these 2 games, so maybe Dominguez plays over Stanton because you need a spark. And Jason Dominguez can be that spark. He's a young kid, plenty of upside. He's got power from the left side of the plate, and I do not care. Fuck defense. Offense wins championships. We just talked about defense 2 seconds ago, so I guess that sounds incredibly hypocritical. But, I'm taking the risk, and I'm putting him at DH. If you don't want to play him in left field, DH him. Sit Giancarlo a game. And if Dominguez hits, you ride the hot hand. And if Dominguez doesn't hit, if he looks really bad, you plug Giancarlo back in. Or you do matchup dependent shit. But I don't see it happening. I think if Dominguez does play, it's going to have to be in left field. I just think this is a team who's stuck with guys like Donaldson and Gallo and Hicks. Why would they go away from Giancarlo Stanton, who's been their best playoff hitter since he's been here. Why would they do that after just 2 games, right? He did, again, produce their only run yesterday before the fake 9th inning home run, and he's been hitting the ball super hard. So I don't know if they're going to do it. I just think you do need a shakeup. And then you get to Carlos Rodon. Fake tough guy Carlos Rodon. His final line on the night, 3 2/3 innings, 4 runs, 7 hits, no walks, 7 strikeouts, a home run, 72 pitches, and a much-deserved loss. I go into this postseason, and Carlos Rodon was one of my X factors. I said he's either going to pitch a gem or implode, and he did exactly the former. Or the latter. The latter. He imploded. This was supposed to be... This is why the Yankees paid the guy. Right? Who cares about the regular season? He did his job in the regular season, to be honest. He 8 innings. He picked up strikeouts. He was there every turn through the rotation. But the Yankees really paid him to shove in October. And his first test failed miserably. Miserably. He looked so good to start, too. And you have to wonder, did he exert all of his energy early on? Because he was very amped up. He looked locked in. The first inning, he was super crisp. He was dotting 98 with the filthy slider going back door, front door. You know, he was flashing the changeup in his back pocket the next couple innings. He was throwing strikes, working quickly, going off the mound, yelling, screaming, "Let's go, it's time." Whatever the hell he was saying. He was amped up. Did he exert all of his energy there? Because everything fell apart after that. And that's the problem with Rodon. One thing goes wrong. Just one thing. The whole thing is screwed up. And that is such an issue for a guy who gets paid $160-something million. One little mistake screws up your entire outing. Your composure completely goes out the window. And you saw it in that 4th inning. And I thought, once again, this has been a problem with Rodon occasionally. The sequencing was very bad in the top of the 4th there. Between him and Wells, I did not like the pitch calling. I thought they went way too much slider. I thought they were trying to overthink a guy like Salvi Perez, who you probably shouldn't try to overthink. He's just been a solid hitter his entire career, veteran of the game. Like, he starts out 2 sliders in the dirt to get him 2-0. So he's behind 2-0, and this is when I think he starts to overthink. He's got a 2-0 count to Salvi, and then he goes slider in the middle of the zone. So I think the thought process there between Wells and Rodon is that, 2 sliders out of the zone, Salvi's probably going to be sitting fastball. But Salvi's a smart hitter. He's been around. He knows how this works. He's a catcher himself. So what he did was kind of reverse psychology, and he sat slider, and Rodon hung one right in the middle of the plate, and he pounded the shit out of it for a home run to tie the game at 1. And from there, it was over. Rodon kept going to the slider. I don't know why. He just, this is the guy who throws 98. Use the 98. But Yuli picks up a base hit off a slider. He strikes out Massey the next at-bat, going slider heavy. So then he goes 3 sliders to Tommy Pham in that at-bat, and he picks up an RBI single to put the Royals up 2-1. The next at-bat, he strikes out Renfroe with a changeup. But again, the final at-bat of his night, the number 9 hitter comes up, some random named Hampton, whatever the hell his name is. And he goes slider to him, and he picks up an RBI base hit to knock Rodon out of the game 3-1. You throw 98 miles an hour. Use that. Use the fastball. And, going back to that Salvi Perez at-bat, if you don't want to go fastball there for whatever reason, go with the 2-0 changeup, blown away. That changeup, the inning prior, was super effective. It's been super effective all year with great movement, going low and away with the changeup to right-handed batters. That's been working for you. So I was a little confused as to why he didn't go with that pitch. But he goes slider, and that completely threw off everything. And now you're sitting here, and the Yankees, their two best starters, their game 1 and game 2 starters, haven't given you much. They're supposed to be your two guys who at least give you 6. Instead, they've been doing nothing but abusing the bullpen. You had to use 4 relievers on Saturday, and I get you have the days off, but you used 7 relievers yesterday. I didn't quite understand why you had to use 7. Why'd you have to go to Luke Weaver at the end there? That didn't make sense. I know you want to keep him fresh, but you're showing Bobby Witt, your closer, a bunch already. Closers have been getting hammered this entire postseason. My gosh. So now you got to go to Clark Schmidt game 3. Probably going to get Luis Heel in that game. But Schmidt's going to be on a short leash. You know, he's never been a guy who goes deep into games because of the third time through problem. And then Luis Heel, if they decide to piggyback with him, that scares the shit out of me because of his command and control issues. And then you get runners on base with Luis Heel with the walks. Now you got to worry about trying to throw them out because the Royals run and the Yankees don't have arms behind the dish. And the Yankee pitchers are not good at holding runners on. Don't get me wrong, like the pen looks good. You know, other than Jake Cousins, who looked bad in his first outing back from the injury, everybody else has looked good so far through 2 games. Canely looks all right. Holmes looks excellent. Hamilton, I know he gave up the inherited run, but he struck out the heart of the order there. A lot of these guys are pitching well in the rotation, but they're not getting effective starting pitching. And they're not getting production from their lineup. Their big bats, Aaron Judge, needs to start coming through. That's it. That's the end. It just comes down to Aaron Judge. There's not much to add. So that's where we're going to wrap this up. We're going to get to a break. When we come back from break, we're wrapping it up with our trivia question. It just comes down to Aaron Judge needing to be himself. Stay with us. Be right back.
Hey there. Thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4. If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
There we go. All right. Sorry about that. Don't have the camera fully set up. So if you're watching the podcast, that was an accident. If you're listening, let's finish this up with our trivia question of the day. And our trivia question: true or false? Aaron Judge is top 5 in Yankees postseason home runs. Is that true or false? That's it, folks. Let me know the answer. And I'll see you in the next episode. 721 is in the books. They absolutely have to win Game 2, or else I think they're getting gentlemen swept. That's the way I look at it. Or Game 3, rather. That's it. Thank you all. I'll see you after Game 3. Later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you, and we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees, and go Knicks!